Hi, amazing artists. I'm really excited about our new project, but before we begin, I hope you guys are all participating in our Spirit Week. Since it's Monday, it's Hat Day. All right, let's look at our objective for our upcoming project along with our I can statements. Our objective is to create an art piece using lines and shapes. Now, if we move on to our I can statements, I can draw different types of lines and shapes, follow step-by-step directions to create an art piece using lines and shapes, and finally, as always, show craftsmanship. We know that craftsmanship is trying our best, so not scribbling or anything like that. We have two other words that we're gonna look at. One, you will definitely be like, I know this one. We worked on it for so long. That one is texture. Remember, texture is the way something feels or looks like it feels. That's either real texture or implied. We are going to be going for implied texture right here on our birch trees. Now, these are those trees, and you might have seen them around, especially in Michigan. They're white bark, and then they almost look like they have these black rings, or sometimes when the bark is peeling, you can see this darker area behind it. So we are going to be using that as our inspiration. The other word is repetition. Now, if I was to kind of close off the ending of that word, think about repeat. When you repeat something, you do it over and over again. So again, we are repeating the same types of lines for our birch tree. And if you look in the background, we are repeating the same types of shapes. So stay tuned and we're gonna go through this step by step. I can't wait. All right, amazing artists, we are ready to create our birch tree using lines and our background using shape. Now, the easiest way to do this is to start with a curved line that goes up like this. All right, then I'm going to draw the letter V. Then I'm going to make a smaller V right here to show the branches, and it's almost like we're drawing a zoomed in portion of this birch tree. All right, the next is I'm going to use these lines to create that implied texture by making bands go around the tree. Some of the bands are going to be closer together, some of them are going to be further apart, some of them are going to go all the way to the end of the branch, some of them won't. It is truly up to you of what you think looks good for your tree. And then I'm going to continue this with some random lines. Some of them hit the end, some of them are just in the middle of the tree. All right, now the next step is I am going to create more trees in the background. So this one is closest to us, whereas these trees, which I'm just going to be making two lines, are further away, and they can overlap. Remember what that means, one is in front of another. So again, I'm repeating the same kind of lines, and repetition was one of our vocabulary words that I introduced. And again, I'm making these bands that go around the tree, and I'm just not really quite doing it as a pattern because it's not the same thing repeated. And you can make as many or as few trees in the background. I like to make quite a bit because I think the black and white is going to look really nice against the colors that we end up using. All right, so one thing you'll notice is as you were making these trees and these lines, in between made different types of shapes. Well, that is also where we're going to use our repetition of color and shapes to make our background. All right, so I think for now that's good. I want to be careful because this area is still a little wet, and as you can see, I've been drawing a lot today. Now I'm going to take some of my colors that I really like, and I am going to create either triangles depending on this shape or more of a square or rectangle. So for example, if I wanted to make a triangle, but I'm not filling it all the way in because that leaves space for another color. All right, and maybe this one looks more like a rectangle, So again, I'm going to fill in the space with my own type of rectangle and use another color in between. And some of my lines are going to end up being pretty thin, while other ones can be thicker. And I'm putting together colors that I like next to each other. So if you don't have markers at your house, that's okay, because you could use crayons, colored pencils. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could even leave it black and white. So you could make your shapes just with another black marker. It all depends on the materials that you have at your house. I don't want you to stress about it, but I do want you to create. So in the end, you're going to fill in all of the space in the background. All right. Also, we are going to have a Google Meet together this week. I will put in my explanation, the day and the time. Please bring your birch tree with the background, because we're going to use this to add some additional details. You will also need, for this Google Meet, markers or crayons again, a pencil, and some paper. If you have scissors, that would be perfect, because we're going to add some extra detail to our birch trees. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my wonderful artists, I cannot wait to see what you create.